In this podcast episode, Charles Duhigg, an award-winning journalist and author of The Power of Habit, discusses the importance of communication and connection in our daily lives. Charles introduces the concept of super communicators, individuals who excel at connecting with others through conversation. He explains that communication is not just about conveying information, but also about fostering meaningful connections with others. Charles emphasizes the power of storytelling in communication. He shares that storytelling is a powerful tool for delivering ideas and insights in a way that resonates with others. By sharing personal stories and experiences, individuals can create a deeper emotional connection with their audience. He believes that storytelling is essential for making complex ideas more accessible and memorable. Charles introduces the idea that every conversation contains multiple layers, including practical, emotional, and social conversations. Practical conversations focus on problem solving and making plans, while emotional conversations delve into how individuals feel. Social conversations revolve around identity and relationships. By recognizing the different types of conversations happening simultaneously, individuals can better connect with others and build stronger relationships. Rich acknowledges the importance of vulnerability in communication and shares his own vulnerability with Charles. He admits to feeling intimidated by Charles and expresses his desire to come across as knowledgeable and likable. Charles appreciates Rich's vulnerability and explains that vulnerability can lead to deeper connections and trust in conversations. By being open and honest about their feelings and experiences, individuals can create a more authentic and meaningful dialogue. Charles discusses the Harvard Happiness Study, which highlights the importance of connection in overall well-being and happiness. The study found that individuals who are connected to a larger network of people tend to live longer, earn more, and experience greater life satisfaction. He emphasizes that genuine connections with others are essential for long-term happiness and fulfillment. By fostering meaningful relationships through communication, individuals can enhance their overall quality of life. Charles clarifies that every conversation is a form of negotiation, where individuals seek to understand each other's perspectives and goals. He distinguishes between traditional negotiations focused on winning and quiet negotiations aimed at mutual understanding. By asking questions and actively listening to others, individuals can uncover deeper insights and build rapport. Effective communication involves not just conveying information, but also empathizing with others and seeking common ground. Charles highlights the importance of asking deep questions in conversations. Deep questions prompt individuals to reflect on their values, beliefs, and experiences, leading to more meaningful and authentic interactions. By asking thoughtful and probing questions, individuals can gain a deeper understanding of others and create a space for genuine connection. Deep questions encourage vulnerability and self-disclosure, fostering a sense of trust and intimacy in communication. Charles shares an example of a jury deliberation involving a man named Leroy Reed, who had mental disabilities and was arrested for carrying a gun. One juror, a university professor with a background in DEFT, used effective communication techniques to navigate the differing viewpoints within the jury. By asking questions, listening attentively, and tailoring his approach to appeal to different groups within the jury, he was able to facilitate a consensus and reach a verdict. Charles discusses the importance of authenticity in communication and how people can sense when someone is being genuine. While communication skills can be used to manipulate others temporarily, true connection and understanding come from authentic interactions. Building trust and rapport with others requires sincerity and a genuine desire to communicate and connect. The conversation shifts to the challenges of online communication, particularly in the current climate of acrimony and polarization. Charles recounts an experiment where gun rights advocates and gun control activists were brought together for a civil conversation. While the in-person dialogue was productive, the online discussion quickly devolved into name-calling and hostility. The shift in communication format highlighted the importance of understanding the rules and nuances of different communication channels. Charles emphasizes the need to adapt communication strategies based on the context and medium of interaction. Different platforms, such as face-to-face conversations, phone calls, emails, and social media, require varying approaches to effectively convey messages and connect with others. By understanding the rules and norms of each communication channel, individuals can improve the quality of their interactions and avoid misunderstandings. Rich shares his personal experience of attending rehab and how his receptivity to change evolved over time. While initially skeptical and resistant to new ideas, Roll eventually embraced vulnerability and authenticity in his interactions with others. By being open to feedback and willing to listen, he was able to make significant progress in his recovery journey. Charles highlights the role of optimism and humility in communication, especially in challenging or contentious situations. By approaching conversations with a sense of optimism and a willingness to connect, individuals can find common ground and build relationships even in difficult circumstances. Acknowledging the potential for connection and investing in authentic communication can lead to positive outcomes and meaningful interactions. The conversation continues with a discussion on balancing different communication styles and knowing when to engage in conversations and when to step back. While some interactions may lead to conflict or negativity, it is essential to recognize when genuine communication is possible and worth pursuing. By navigating communication channels with awareness and intention, individuals can cultivate meaningful connections and foster understanding in various aspects of life. Charles provides a practical example of managing a difficult conversation, such as during Thanksgiving dinner with family members who have differing opinions. He suggests role-playing scenarios where one person plays the role of a crazy uncle with extreme views. Instead of reacting negatively, Charles advises responding with curiosity and asking deep questions to understand the underlying reasons for their beliefs. By showing empathy and reflecting back what the other person has shared, a more meaningful dialogue can be established. Charles introduces the concept of the matching principle, where individuals tend to mirror each other's behaviors and expressions during conversations. He explains how laughter can be a powerful tool in signaling connection and understanding. By matching each other's energy and responses, people can establish a stronger bond and improve communication. Charles also shares insights from a NASA psychiatrist who used laughter and shared personal experiences to assess astronauts' ability to connect and work together effectively in space. In the context of relationships, Charles delves into the dynamics of disagreements and arguments between partners. He highlights the importance of controlling the parameters of a conversation rather than trying to control each other. By focusing on controlling the environment, self-awareness, and setting boundaries for the discussion, couples can navigate conflicts more effectively. He emphasizes the need for cooperation and finding common ground in managing disagreements, which can strengthen the relationship and foster better communication. Charles discusses the role of communication in leadership and how certain behaviors can garner respect and influence in a group setting. He describes the archetype of a leader who listens attentively, asks insightful questions, and allows others to contribute to the conversation. By being a facilitator rather than a dominant figure, this type of leader can create a more inclusive and collaborative environment, leading to better outcomes and stronger team dynamics. Charles discusses the role of supercommunicators in facilitating meaningful conversations. He explains that supercommunicators are individuals who have the ability to make others feel heard and understood, thus creating a conducive environment for open dialogue. He emphasizes that supercommunicators are not necessarily the most charismatic or entertaining individuals in a group. Instead, they are individuals who have developed the skill of making others feel valued and respected during conversations. These supercommunicators often repeat and rephrase ideas to make them more palatable and easier for the group to process. They play a crucial role in fostering effective communication and building trust within a group. Charles mentions that about 15 to 18% of the American population are considered supercommunicators. He also highlights the fact that supercommunicators often have had negative experiences with communication in the past, which led them to develop better communication skills over time. By being attentive, empathetic, and reflective in their interactions, super communicators create a safe space for meaningful conversations to take place. Charles stresses the importance of deep questions and active listening in fostering effective communication. By asking thoughtful questions and actively engaging with the speaker, individuals can demonstrate that they are truly listening and understanding the conversation. Looping, or repeating back what the speaker has said in one's own words, can also help in showing that one is actively engaged in the conversation. He also discusses the significance of reciprocity in communication, where individuals share their own experiences or thoughts in response to what has been shared with them. This back and forth exchange helps in building rapport and understanding between individuals. He highlights the value of vulnerability in communication, where individuals acknowledge their own shortcomings or mistakes, creating a more authentic and open dialogue. Charles's book, The Power of Habit, delves into the concept of habit formation and change. He explains the habit loop, which consists of a cue, routine, and reward. Habits are ingrained behaviors that are triggered by specific cues and result in a reward, creating a cycle of automatic behavior. Charles emphasizes that 70% of our daily actions are habitual, highlighting the importance of understanding and modifying these habits for personal growth and improvement. He reflects on how his own understanding of habits has evolved over the past decade since the publication of his book. He emphasizes the significance of mental habits, such as emotional reactions and decision-making processes, in shaping our behavior. By paying attention to these internal habits and engaging in meaningful conversations with others, individuals can gain insights into their own thought patterns and behaviors. Charles views everything through the lens of addiction and recovery, drawing parallels between the habit loop and the addiction cycle. He emphasizes that addiction is not limited to substance abuse, but can manifest in various behaviors that are compulsive and harmful. He highlights the importance of recognizing and addressing these habits to lead a more fulfilling life. The discussion explores the process of habit formation and the challenges of breaking bad habits or forming new ones. Charles explains that changing a habit is more difficult than forming a new one due to the neural pathways created by repeated behavior. However, he also notes that changing a habit can be more rewarding and transformative, leading to a deeper understanding of oneself and one's capabilities. Both Charles and Roll acknowledge the power of momentum in personal transformation. They discuss how small wins and consistent efforts can build momentum towards positive change. Charles shares insights from his research on quitting smoking, highlighting the importance of learning from past failures and conducting experiments to understand oneself better. The conversation emphasizes the role of connection, empathy, and vulnerability in facilitating change. Charles reflects on his experiences attending AA meetings and the profound impact of sharing stories and experiences with others. He underscores the value of non-judgmental support and guidance in overcoming challenges and embracing transformation. Charles transitions to discussing the science of communication and the potential for raising the level of consciousness through conversation and connection. He shares his optimism about sharing scientific insights on communication to promote understanding and empathy, especially in divisive times such as during an election year. The importance of engaging in meaningful conversations and asking deep questions is highlighted as a way to bridge differences and foster positive change.